It started with a pizza ad. I was watching a basketball game, fourth quarter, tie game, timeout, and suddenly there's a Domino's ad on my screen. Nothing weird about that, right? Ads happen during timeouts, except I hadn't ordered Domino's in 6 months. But I had talked about it 3 hours earlier in my kitchen with my roommate. We were deciding what to get for dinner. I said maybe pizza. He said, now let's do Thai. We got Thai. And now 3 hours later my TV is showing me a pizza ad. Coincidence? Probably. Had to be. TVs don't listen to your conversations. Right, let me back up. I bought this TV 8 months ago. Samsung, 65 inches, QLED, the works, paid $1,400 for it. The salesperson at Best Buy said it was the smartest TV on the market. He wasn't kidding. This thing could do everything: voice control, screen mirroring, built-in apps, gaming mode, ambient mode that shows artwork when you're not using it. It even had Bixby, Samsung's voice assistant, built right in. You can control your whole house with it, the guy said. I didn't want to control my whole house. I just wanted to watch TV, but I bought it anyway because the picture quality was incredible. And honestly, how often do you really think about what your TV is doing when you're not watching it? Turns out I should have thought about it more. The first month was fine. Great, actually. The TV was fast, the apps opened instantly. Picture quality was stunning. I felt like I'd made a good purchase. Then I started noticing things, small things at first. I'd be scrolling through Netflix and the recommendations were too good. Not just you watch this so you might like that. More like, the TV knew what I was in the mood for before I did. One Friday night I came home exhausted from work, just wanted to zone out. Opened Netflix and right there on the home screen, because you're stressed, relaxing nature documentaries. I hadn't told the TV I was stressed. I hadn't searched for nature documentaries. But somehow it knew. I watched one. It was exactly what I needed, and that creeped me out a little. Then there was the thing with the concert. I was looking at tickets on my phone. Some indie band I like was coming to town. I didn't buy the tickets, too expensive. But I looked at them, added them to my cart, left them there. 2 hours later I turned on my TV. There was an ad on the home screen for that exact band playing at that exact venue. Tickets still available. Okay, I thought, my phone and my TV are both Samsung. They're probably synced somehow. Sharing data across devices. That's a feature, right? That's the ecosystem everyone talks about. But I never connected my phone to this TV. I checked the settings. No phone paired. No account linked. Nothing. So how did it know? I started paying more attention after that. And once you start paying attention, you can't stop noticing. I mentioned a new restaurant to a friend during a conversation in my living room. The TV was on but muted. We were just talking. 2 days later, an ad for that restaurant showed up on my YouTube app. On the TV, I Googled best wireless headphones on my laptop. In my bedroom, the TV was off. That night when I turned the TV on, there was an ad for Sony headphones on the home screen. I told my girlfriend I was thinking about getting a dog. We were sitting on the couch. The TV was on in the background, playing some show we weren't really watching. A week later, my TV started showing me ads for Chewy, Petco, local veterinarians. I hadn't searched for any of this stuff. Not on my TV, not on any device connected to my TV, but the TV knew. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I Googled it. Is my Samsung TV listening to me? Turns out, yeah, it is, not in some conspiracy theory way. In a totally legal, totally disclosed, buried in the terms and conditions way. Samsung's privacy policy literally says, if you enable voice recognition, you can interact with your smart TV using your voice. If you enable this feature, Samsung will collect voice commands and associated texts so that we can provide you with voice recognition features and evaluate and improve the features. Please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among the data captured and transmitted to a third party. Read that last part again. Transmitted to a third party. Your TV is listening, recording, sending your voice data to companies you've never heard of. And the kicker, I never enabled voice recognition. I never used Bixby. I never talked to my TV, but the microphone was still on. I dove deeper into the settings, way deeper than any normal person should have to go. Turns out there are 17 different privacy settings on a Samsung Smart TV. 17, buried across 4 different menus: voice recognition, viewing information services, interest-based advertisement, interactive voice recognition, automatic content recognition, device analytics, HBB TV, TV Plus tracking, each one enabled by default. I started turning them off. One by one. Are you sure some features may not work properly? Yes, I'm sure. Disabling this may impact your viewing experience. I'll take my chances. Your TV will no longer be able to provide personalized recommendations. Good. I turned off everything. Every single setting that mentioned data collection, voice recognition, personalized anything. And you know what happened? Half my apps stopped working. Netflix wouldn't load, YouTube was glitchy. The TV kept nagging me with pop-ups. Enable viewing data to continue. Turn on voice recognition for better results. I had to turn some of the settings back on. Because the TV had essentially locked me out of features I'd paid for unless I agreed to be surveilled. That's not a feature, that's extortion. But here's where it gets really weird. Even with most of the tracking turned off, the TV still knew things. I started testing it, being deliberate. One day I sat in front of my TV, powered off, and said out loud, "I need new running shoes." I didn't search for it, didn't mention it anywhere else, just said it, once. To a TV that was supposedly off. 2 days later, I turned on the TV. There were 3 ads for running shoes on the home screen. I tried it again. Different topic. I'm thinking about going to Mexico. 4 days later, ads for flights to Cancun, resort packages, travel insurance. I did this 5 times, different products, different timelines. Every single time within a week, ads appeared on my TV for the exact thing I'd mentioned out loud. My TV wasn't just listening when it was on, it was listening all the time. Now you might be thinking I'm paranoid, that this is all coincidence, that maybe I'd searched for these things and forgot, that maybe the ads are just weirdly well-timed, so I did one more test. A definitive one. I invited my friend Mike over, told him what I'd been experiencing. He was skeptical. "Dude, you're overthinking this. TVs don't just listen to everything you say." "Let's test it," I said. We sat in front of the TV, powered off, and we had a completely fake conversation, loud and clear. "Man, I really need to buy a parrot," I said. "A parrot," Mike played along. "Yeah, I've been thinking about getting a parrot too. Such cool birds. I'm definitely going to buy a parrot this week." We went back and forth for 2 minutes, talking about parrots. Neither of us has ever wanted a parrot. Neither of us had ever searched for parrots. It was completely random. 5 days later, I turned on my TV. There was an ad on the home screen for Petco featuring a parrot. "Find your perfect feathered friend." Mike saw it. His face went white. "What the fuck?" he said. "Yeah, what the fuck?" So I called Samsung, got transferred 4 times. Finally reached someone in technical support. "Hi, yeah, I think my TV is listening to my conversations even when it's turned off." Long pause. "Sir, the voice recognition feature only activates when you use the wake word or press the microphone button on the remote." I never use the wake word, I never press the button. But I'm still getting targeted ads based on things I say out loud in my living room. Another pause. "That would be, let me check your model number." I gave it to him. "Okay, so your TV does have ambient listening capabilities for improved voice recognition accuracy. But it only processes data when the feature is actively." What does ambient listening mean? It means the microphone is always ready to detect the wake word. So it's always listening. Well, it's always ready to listen. But it only records and transmits data when what? When I say the magic word. Because I never say the magic word and it's still recording me. Sir, I assure you Samsung takes privacy very seriously. All data collection is disclosed in our privacy policy, and I hung up. Here's what I found out after hours of research. Most smart TVs have what's called always-on voice recognition. The microphone is constantly active, listening for a wake word. "Hey Google, Alexa, hi Bixby." Now technically, the TV is supposed to only record after it hears the wake word. Everything before that is supposed to be processed locally and immediately deleted. But here's the thing, the TV has to be listening to everything to know when you say the wake word. It's analyzing every sound in your living room 24/7 to detect that specific phrase. And who's to say that's all it's doing? Who's verifying that the audio is actually being deleted? Who's checking that it's not being recorded, analyzed, and sent to servers for quality improvement? Nobody. You just have to trust Samsung and LG and Vizio and every other manufacturer. You have to trust that they're following their own privacy policies. That they're not collecting more data than they admit. That the third parties they share data with are trustworthy. And based on everything I've experienced, I don't trust them at all. But it's not just the microphone. I started looking into ACR, automatic content recognition. This is the feature that scans whatever's on your screen and identifies what you're watching. Every few seconds, your TV takes a snapshot. It analyzes the image, matches it to a database, figures out what show you're watching, even if it's on cable or DVD or a streaming device. Then it logs that information, builds a profile, sells it. I found out my TV had ACR enabled by default. I'd never turned it on, it was just on from the moment I unboxed it. For 8 months, my TV had been tracking every single thing I'd watched. Every movie, every show, every YouTube video, every game I played, and I had no idea I checked the data. You can request it from Samsung. It took 3 weeks, but they finally sent me a file, 472 pages, every episode of every show, timestamps, duration, what I paused, what I rewound, what I skipped. There was data in there from before I even knew ACR existed. From the first day I owned the TV, they'd been watching me watch TV for 8 months without telling me. I started talking to other people, friends, coworkers, random people on Reddit. Everyone had stories. One guy mentioned he was planning a trip to Japan, just talking about it with his wife. And the next day his LG TV showed him ads for flights to Tokyo. A woman said she complained to her husband about their old couch. 2 days later, her Roku TV had ads for furniture stores. Someone else mentioned they were thinking about proposing. Never searched for rings, never looked at jewelry websites, just talked about it out loud. His TV started showing him ads for engagement rings, story after story, all the same pattern. People saying things out loud, in their homes, near their TVs. And then seeing ads for those exact things days later. It's not paranoia if it's actually happening, so I made a decision. I unplugged the TV from the internet, completely, pulled the Ethernet cable, disconnected from Wi-Fi, went into the settings and disabled every network feature. The TV immediately started complaining. Pop-ups every time I turned it on. Connect to the internet to access smart features. Your TV works best when connected to Wi-Fi. I ignored them. And you know what happened? The ads stopped. The creepy recommendations stopped. The TV stopped knowing things it shouldn't know. I use it now with an Apple TV box. Works perfectly. Better than the built-in apps ever did. No surveillance. No data collection, no microphone listening to my conversations. The TV is just a screen now, a dumb, beautiful screen the way it should be, but here's what bothers me most. I had to work really hard to make this stop. I had to research, dig through settings, test, verify, disconnect. Most people won't do that. Most people don't even know this is happening. They're sitting in their living rooms right now, having conversations, making plans, discussing private things, and their TV is listening, recording, learning, building a profile. And they have no idea because the TV companies don't want you to know. They bury the disclosures. They make opting out difficult. They design the system so that the path of least resistance is total surveillance. And it works, because most people just want to watch TV. They don't want to become privacy experts. They don't want to read 70-page terms of service agreements. They just want to sit down and relax. And the companies are counting on that. My roommate bought a new TV last month, different brand. TCL with Roku built-in, cheaper than mine, good reviews. I helped him set it up. First screen, connect to Wi-Fi. He entered the password. Second screen, create a Roku account. He entered his email. Third screen, enable smart features. This allows Roku to provide personalized recommendations and improve your experience. I told him to read the fine print. He clicked it. By enabling smart features, you allow Roku to collect viewing data, search data, and usage data. This data may be shared with content providers and advertisers to deliver personalized experiences. Should I enable it? He asked. Do you want your TV to track everything you watch and sell that information to advertisers? He thought about it. Will the TV work if I don't? Yeah. You just won't get personalized recommendations. I don't want personalized recommendations. I want to watch TV. He clicked disable. The next screen, are you sure? Disabling smart features will limit functionality and prevent access to certain content. Certain content? He looked at me. Like what? I shrugged. Probably nothing important. They're just trying to scare you into enabling it. He clicked confirm. The TV finished setting up. Everything worked fine. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, all there, all functional, no tracking. No data collection. It was that easy, but only because I was there to tell him what those screens actually meant. Only because I'd been through this before and knew what to look out for. Most people don't have that. They just click enable because the TV makes it sound necessary, because they assume if the TV is asking it must be important, and that's the trap. I think about my grandmother a lot these days. She's got a smart TV. My aunt bought it for her, thought it would be easier than cable. It's not easier, it's confusing, too many apps, too many buttons. She calls me once a week because something's not working, but here's what really gets me. My grandmother lives alone, she talks to herself sometimes, nothing weird, just thinking out loud. Reminding herself of things she needs to do, commenting on the news. And her TV is listening, all of it. Every private moment, every thought spoken aloud, every phone call in the living room. Recorded, analyzed, sold, she doesn't know, she wouldn't understand if I tried to explain it. She thinks the TV just shows pictures. She has no idea that the pictures are watching back. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight when you get home, look at your TV, really look at it. That's not just a screen, it's a microphone, a camera potentially, a data collection device. It's listening to you right now even when it's off. It knows what you watch, when you watch it, how long you watch it, it might know what you talk about, what you search for. What you're interested in, it's building a profile of you, your habits, your preferences, your secrets, and it's selling that information to advertisers, to data brokers. To companies you've never heard of, without asking, without compensating you, without giving you any meaningful control. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's just how smart TVs work now. And the worst part, you can't even avoid it anymore. You can't buy a dumb TV, not a good one, not at a reasonable price. They've all got smart features, microphones, cameras, tracking. The only choice you have is whether to connect it to the internet. That's it. That's the only line of defense. Buy the TV for the screen, never connect it to Wi-Fi, use an external device. It's not perfect, it's not convenient, but at least you're not being surveilled in your own living room. At least the TV isn't learning your secrets, at least you own it instead of it owning you. I was watching a movie last week, on my disconnected TV, using my Apple TV box. No internet connection on the TV itself, no data collection, no surveillance, and you know what? It was perfect. The movie played, no buffering, no ads on the home screen, no creepy recommendations. No pop-ups asking me to enable features, just a movie on a screen the way it's supposed to be. And for the first time in 8 months, I felt like I could relax in my own living room. Because I knew the TV wasn't listening, wasn't watching, wasn't learning, it was just a screen. And that's all it should ever be. My friend Mike came over again last week. We were watching the game, having a conversation, normal stuff. At one point he stopped mid-sentence. Wait. Is your TV listening to this? No, I said, not anymore. He looked at the TV, then at me. How do you know? It's not connected to the internet. Can't send data if it's not connected. He nodded slowly, then he looked at his phone, his smart watch, my Alexa on the counter. But those are, he said, yeah, those are the TV that knew too much. That's what I called it, back when it was still connected, back when it was still smart. Now it doesn't know anything, it's just a screen, and I've never been happier with a TV in my life.